Alleges Ward 8 Councilmember Trayon White sought to profit from the millions in tax dollars the District of Columbia was spending to stem the tide of gun violence. These images of White, filed with the criminal complaint, are alleged to have been secretly recorded by a person who owned two companies contracted to provide millions in violence intervention services on behalf of D.C.'s Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. The unnamed business owner, who recently pleaded guilty to federal fraud charges related to the Paycheck Protection Program during the pandemic, was cooperating with the FBI. The documents allege that person bribed Councilmember Trayon White with approximately $156,000 and gifts, including travel to the Dominican Republic and Las Vegas, to pressure agencies for which the council member had oversight to extend those lucrative contracts.
This is a scheme that has to stop.
Ward 5 Advisory Neighborhood Commissioner Kathy Henderson notes the charges against the Ward 8 council member are allegations at this point, but she says she's frustrated and angry at those who would see D.C.'s violence problems as a piggy bank.
The Violence Interrupter Initiative and all the money that goes along with it is nothing more than a scheme that is a waste of taxpayer dollars.
Trayon White's Ward 8 office released a statement that says the Office of Councilmember Trayon White Sr. acknowledges the recent criminal complaint against Councilmember White. This matter is in the hands of the appropriate legal authorities who will oversee the necessary proceedings. We recognize the seriousness of this matter. We want to assure Ward 8 residents and stakeholders that our office remains fully operational and steadfast in our commitment to serving the public. Our staff continues to work diligently to address the needs and concerns of our constituents, ensuring that essential services and initiatives are not disrupted. Trayon White won election to his council seat in 2016. It's the seat that was that of former Mayor Marion Barry. In Southeast Washington, Jackie Benson, News 4.
Welcome to the People's Voice. I just want to start off by, and we're going to have our guest on soon, but I have a problem when we take the actions of one person and then say that the efforts of many people who have sacrificed their time, who have sacrificed their finances, who have sacrificed their peace, who have even put their own safety and life at risk for the sake of violence interruption. So because of the alleged actions of one man, we are not going to use this as an opportunity to say get rid of a whole program, to say undo what many people have sacrificed, have spent their hours and their days and weeks, time they could have been spending with their children, time they could have been spending at home with their wives, with their husbands, with their loved ones. They have sacrificed to put in some serious work out in the streets and in our communities. It was not for nothing. It does not mean that they are not effective. There are changes and improvements that need to be made, but I have to say that I disagree wholeheartedly with Ms. Henderson. With that being said, we're going to come back with our guest, current ANC candidate for commissioner over in Ward 8, our brother Thomas Donahue. And we're going to hear a lot of things he has to say, his vision for his SMD and for Ward 8, and also his thoughts on Trayon White and our violence interruption program. Welcome to the People's Voice, DC.
Decades, generations, I don't, for a very long time, and there's no money for that.
Good evening. How you doing, brother? How you doing?
I'm good, Michael. How are you, sir?
Doing pretty good. Pretty good. There's a lot going on over there in your ward.
It's made some news. A lot of people are talking about it. That's for sure, and it should be talked about. It needs to be talked about.
You say it needs to be talked about. You don't think that there should be more efforts to bring unity and less efforts of exposure, so to speak, or division?
I mean, I think that's part of the discussion. I don't think that we can't get there without discussing it. It's a hot topic on both sides. There's a lot of people who I've seen express frustration and support. It's not an easy matter to move forward with. Trayon, Councilmember White has a lot on his plate. Yeah, I mean, I've heard your thoughts about it over the last couple of weeks or so. I've taken the time to sort of inquire about it from people around me. I feel, you can't overcome, me personally, the photos, and apparently what they have is video. It has not done Ward 8 well, no matter how you look at it. Wrong, right, whether it's been set up or what, the situation in general is just not a good situation for Ward 8. And that's the unfortunate thing. If you look at the headlines, it's beaten us up all the time. And I don't know that that's fair to everyone else that's here, but it's definitely it's a challenging time for us. And I think unity is a good call. How we get there, I think, is a discussion that needs to be open and available to everyone. I know that there has been in the past couple of weeks some conversations between certain groups, and some people were invited, some people weren't, because of limitations or whatever. But I think if we're going to move forward, having a very open discussion, allowing everyone to sort of give their points of view is important.
I agree. Definitely, I'm always in favor of everyone's view being and everyone's voice being heard, and perspective being respected. That's always been a key proponent of who I am. So you're running for commissioner in ANC. This is a
I think that Pastor Mike may have been booted off, so looks like we are apparently live. We'll just give him a moment to come back. I know Michael was starting to talk about me running for ANC commissioner. Let me just tell you a little bit about me until he comes back on. So I've been in the Fair Lawn community for 11. There he is, Michael. I was just going to continue to talk a little bit about me and introduce myself. So it looked like I was there by myself for a bit. So
I don't know what happened, but let me skip back right back to it. You're running for commissioner, ANC 8A01, is it?
Yeah, 01.
Okay. And are you're unopposed? No one else is on the ballot, correct?
That's correct. It's I'm running. There were 5 people who signed up to obtain the paperwork, but I was the only one that submitted the actual signatures.
Cool. Now, are there any write-in campaigns?
Not that I'm aware of. There might be. Not that I'm aware of. I know that somebody made an attempt to challenge my petitions. However, the Board of Election, I wasn't even notified of it, so I just happened to find out about it. But so it looks like we're going to be the only one on the ballot for our ANC.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. What made you decide to run after how long have you been a resident there? What made you decide to finally run?
Yeah, so just a brief history about me. I've been in the Fairlawn community for about 11 years. Most of that was on the corner of Prout and 22nd Street, right behind Boone Elementary. I started my small business as a photographer and videographer in 2015. And I have teetered on getting active, but not so active. I think that for the first couple of years, I really wanted to sit back and just watch and learn and listen. But in the coming months or in the coming years, I think that what I've seen from our current ANC commission, there's needs to be some refresh and change. And so I'm excited to begin to offer that. 4 of our 7 commissioners, current commissioners, will not be up for re-election. So at least half of our commission will be new, and that is very exciting and refreshing, and something that I think that should bring a lot of hope to the residents of our commission. So.
Cool. Good. What do you have to say for those who may say, well, quite frankly, should a white guy be running to represent predominantly a Black constituency?
Michael, thanks for asking. I appreciate you asking it. It's that is something that I have sort of gone back and forth. It's probably why I haven't ran any sooner. I have said multiple times up until now that I never wanted to run. I frankly don't really think I'm the right person to run. However, in my personal opinion, there are some concerns with our current ANC. And my goal is to run these 2 years. One thing that I don't think that we do in general is, engage in people to try to get them to run, to get them excited about it, to get them wanting to be involved themselves. And we don't do a good job of that at all. As Democrats, it's just not something I've seen here locally. And so my goal is to sort of bring a new, fresh approach to our ANC, sort of have it run like it should run. And I think that I've spoken to some of the new folks that have been running or that are running also unopposed. And I'm very excited about what comes forward. And if you know anything about our ANC and my connection with our ANC, I'm not going to hide behind the fact that I haven't been very critical of my former ANC commissioner, our current ANC commissioners. But it's not something that I'm going to, I don't back down from things when things are going wrong. And I think that once people actually get to know me, they will see that my interests are where they should be. And I'm in for doing, the right things. And so moving forward, I think that having a new, if we have an entire whole new commission, that would be great. But it's also up to us, and it's up to our constituents. My goal is to get them involved, to ask them for help, to encourage them for help, to encourage them to be involved and use their voice. I love the spirit of an ANC, of a single member district. I love the spirit of it. There are some challenges, frankly, with how ANCs work. So I hope that along this journey that I'll create, that I can help make the process a better one for all of us. Because I know in the last couple of years, through some of the challenges that I've had with my own ANC, I'm looking forward to playing a part in making it better for all of us. So.
Pretty cool. So I want to take a moment and remind everyone to please make sure you leave your comments, ask questions, share, and be sure to send stars. Your support definitely keeps us going. Everyone, Chris definitely is feeling the love. Chris, my dear friend and co-host, he tried to get here. He couldn't be on tonight, but he is feeling the love from all of our followers and our fans. He definitely thanks you guys and can't wait to get back on. We might to make it to this show before we close. We might not, but he definitely sees the comment and is feeling the love and want you guys to know he appreciates it. So back to the show.
Just to shout out, I've seen Patrice has been messaging a couple of different things. I appreciate the support. I also appreciate the fact that people are and can be very honest with me. And I think that that's really important. Look, I'm the first person to admit that I'm from central Pennsylvania. I grew up in a very sheltered community, in a very sheltered family. Like my father served 42 years. My late father, he just passed away, unfortunately, served 42 years in the Army. So I am the first person to admit that I have a lot to learn. I have learned a lot in the last 10 years. I say it all the time that I thank Ward 8 for the lessons that I have learned, which have made me a better person. For instance, Miss Angela, who lived under the 295 overpass. If you remember who she, from a couple of years ago, this woman passed away, never realizing the impact that she as one person had on my life. And it was a very innocent. I took her some muffins for Christmas. It was like the holiday season, and I took them over there. I didn't really know who she was, but I knew that I drove past her every day. Like she was always there, and I just wanted her to know that somebody was thinking about her during the holidays. Well, in what seems like true Miss Angela ways, she gave me she started yelling and screaming at me, and I'll never forget it. But and I had no clue why, but it did get me thinking, and it got me thinking about the fact that this is a woman who I don't know anything about her. I don't know if she was maybe abused by a man, or and here I am, marching my way into her bedroom and and putting stuff on her. So I would have never had that opportunity or that lessons learned back in central Pennsylvania. And that's just one of a lot of different scenarios or situations that I've found myself in. And along the way, I have stumbled. But I love the fact that people can feel honest about how they feel with me. I might disagree, but I make sure that as much as possible that I sit back and listen. That is one of the lessons that I learned early on from those who are in Ward 8. And I don't know if some of you may recall a Facebook posting about a dog park. It sort of seems to be an infamous posting. But that posting alone has had a huge impact. And it was the first sort of lesson that the community that I was trying to and asking to, to allow me in, I guess, to some degree, really had me thinking, and was very critical and fairly critical. And I didn't understand it at that point. I just wanted to know about a dog park, but others wanted to know why I didn't want to know about a hospital for Black people. And I at first I was very I was very what's the word I'm looking for? Like I would defend myself. And then I thought, why? I mean, what I need to do is do exactly what people had told me to do then, was to sit back, listen, learn, and that's what I did from that point, really. I've made it a point to listen to people, but I also think that it's important that the community also understands that I'm going to listen, but I'm also going to ask questions. And if I want to better understand something, then understand the fact that I'm asking because that's what I want to do. I want to better understand people's perspectives. I get frustrated at times, not fully understanding why people don't have a higher expectation of our elected officials. And I'm not pointing out any particular elected official in particular, but the fact that we can just accept behavior that shouldn't be acceptable among our communities, that should warrant and want us to have a better representation. And standing up against that is really important, because, we all live in the communities that we represent, whether, I live in ANC 8A01, and many of the some 2,000 constituents that I have should have an expectation of me higher, because I'm representing them. And so I should not only make myself available to hear them, but also is my responsibility to do what I can to help them along the way. Now, more than likely, when they first ask, Pastor Michael, I'm not going to know the answers. I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm trying to do this sort of, touch things here and there to kind of get a sense of what, to have an idea. I'm not going to have the answers. And I tell people that. But I'll do what I can to find the answers out. And I think that that's what's really important. There is really no engagement with our communities, with our ANCs. I have already put a year's worth of ANC single member district meetings on my website for.
Well, that's key for me, because I feel like, personally, our elected officials they have gotten to a point where they feel like they are elected to give us what they feel is best for us. When in actuality, they're elected to represent us and what our thoughts and what we want and what we desire. We don't elect you to tell us what you think is a great idea and what you feel is best for us. We elect you to represent what we want and what we think and relate what we feel. And so I think it's very important that we get back to actually listening to our constituents and putting the people first.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. The one thing with me is I have always said that I did not want to be an ANC commissioner, and that's still very true. However, given the circumstances within our ANC, I wanted to be able to help make change, and along that way, I'm going to look to my neighbors. I'm going to engage in them. I'm going to get them involved. I would like to get them involved as much as they want to be. I mean, sometimes it's a scary endeavor, putting going out and collecting signatures. I mean, it was definitely an experience for me. But the more I did it, the more I found it. I don't know, liberating is the right word, but it was nice to get to know the people that live around me that I haven't talked to or met for, the whole 11 years. And one of the things that I really would like to do is bring them together, is bring our neighbors together more often.
So speaking of bringing them together, I do have to ask this because I actually know the SMD. I've been around there. I know the area. And one thing I do know is that the former ANC every year had a block party. So will you continue the tradition of having a block party at least once a year?
Yeah, I mean, I that is one example of bringing our community together, and I think it's a great way to do it. I'm hoping to raise some funds to do possibly something on election night, just to try to bring people together a little bit, or we'll see, something in or around election night. On back to school Monday, I was out in front, by Boone Elementary, and sort of introducing myself, sort of giving out some information about myself, so where they can go to they can go to the website anc8a.com, just to begin to let people know who I was. And it was great to see moms and grandmothers, coming out to see their kids and their grandkids going to school for the very first day. As a person who doesn't have any children, I've always been concerned about our Boone superstars across the street from where I used to live. And, that's why I fought for 2 years to bring these stop signs and speed bumps along 22nd Street, because for some odd reason, they just would fly all the way down 22nd Street alongside of Boone Elementary without a stop sign or anything slowing them down. And it was inexcusable. And it took me to have to reach out to some colleagues of mine over at NBC News to actually bring attention to this. And it was made right within a couple of days to a couple of weeks it took for the speed bumps to get in. And so those have been installed for several years now. And it has made the block around Boone Elementary safer. And so it's little things like that. I'm not, we're not going to be, making policy. We might be able to have some influence on policy. My theory is, I hope that our commission will be able to put out an agenda early enough so that I can engage in communications with my neighbors at our single member district meeting, to discuss it before it actually goes before our commission, where the votes and
Well,
to say.
here's the thing about you bring up the making policy aspect. Um, a commission does have the ability to write resolutions and to present certain things to the council. Um, even work with the civic associations to present to the council. Um, you already know I last year I worked at Boone Elementary with my students, and um, I kind of grew a love for of course my students in the area right there at Boone Elementary. And one of the issues that I was having is they don't have safe pass right there at Boone Elementary. Now I'm not sure Kramer has it, which is not far away, but I know at Boone, sure it's not a high school, sure it's not a middle school, but I think people are unaware that our elementary school students um, go through a lot. They're in great danger just going home and coming to school every single day. As a matter of fact, a couple of years ago, a young girl got shot going home from Boone Elementary. And so I played the clip to open the show about violence interruption. And we heard with our dear sister. She's a great woman, Kathy Henderson. But it's okay to disagree at times, and I disagree with her call to just outright end the violence interrupted program altogether. There are aspects of it that is needed, and safe passage. It is a form of violence interruption that our babies need and that has proven. I saw a comment from my brother, Pastor Kenny Clark. Has it made a difference? Safe passage has made a wonder of a difference for our children going to and from school. Now, you're not going to find statistics that say there were 3 lives saved today, or 3 people were about to shoot, but they decided not to shoot their gun. You're only going to see statistics on the ones who shoot and on the ones who get shot. But unfortunately, because we don't keep the statistics, I can't tell you, but I can tell you that I do know of several instances where guys have put their life on the line as violence interrupters, as safe passage workers, and have stopped a conflict. Conflict resolution is real. Conflict resolution does work. If we work it will and can work. So will you be a commissioner that believes in violent interrupters and its program, or do you think we just need to get rid of all of the violence prevention efforts and start from scratch?
Yeah, that's a good question, Michael. I mean, I'm good. I am a commissioner that will support anything that will reduce the tension, reduce the shootings. I have offered to several families my services here in Ward 8 for victims of gun violence. Christopher, of course, I start saying his name and I was like, so there's Brandon Gant, who last year was shot in the head on his way down Minnesota Avenues, just blocks from where I live. They say it might be a case of mistaken identity. Who knows? He was on his way to pick up some medicine in the middle of the night for his mom. I have traveled this journey with their family from day one. They asked me to be there for their private viewing up into last week when I was over there at the scene of the accident, celebrating his the 1 year, celebrating, I guess, and then to the cemetery. I have traveled this journey with them, and the feelings, the visions that I'll have will never leave me from his mom, you know, seeing him for the first time, and again, another unfortunate lesson that I followed them the entire journey. And so I became very close with their family. And to this day, it's bothersome to know that, somebody's out there that, and heck, we could be passing by this person, and not even knowing it. Christopher Brown, a couple of years ago, 2020, Christopher, it was during the pandemic, and there was a block party, if you recall. The shooting actually was the largest mass shooting in this country that year, where 30-something people were injured, along with seriously injured an off-duty police officer. Hundreds of people were there, and the people who have been who are responsible for his death continue to be out on the streets years later. And with hundreds of people there, I believe that the police, know what the deal is, but people are concerned about their safety, and if coming out and opening up about this. But these are the types of people that we as a community need to support each other to rid off our streets. And just 3 years ago, a man was riding his bicycle down in front of my house on Proud Street and was hit and run over by somebody who had gotten into basically an argument throughout the course of the one block. And the guy on the bicycle got off briefly, walked about halfway from the corner to the car. There were some words exchanged. You couldn't really tell what was said. He got back on his bikes, began to go over the pedestrian crossway, and you hear them running him over. Again, these are people that we don't need on our streets. And when you review that video, you can only imagine what the family felt when they saw it the first time. So this violence, anything that will help decrease the violence in our community is a good thing. I do think that it's an appropriate action for the council to review these programs, to review everything about them, really. I mean, it's unfortunate that the police union came out in, calling for its demise. However, I think you're right. There's probably facets of it that probably need to be corrected. There's probably facets of it that are very successful of it. And we should take a critical look at this program and figure out what's making it successful.
I'll be straight up with the facets that need to be taken out and what need to be. The bottom line is that violence, interruption, the program in its entirety as a whole does not need to be under the mayor's office. That's the bottom line.
I think that people are jumping to conclusions and jumping into, making, headlines. And I think people need to allow the process to take place. However, there's a lot of questions that have been asked, that should be asked, that I'm concerned about. And, moving forward into the election.
We got the data that's already provided too. And the data already shows that there is better cohesion, that there is more effectiveness, is better efficiency with the program that's running under the AG. the great Ryan Shaw, as opposed to what's happening under the mayor's office. It's number one, there's no reason why the mayor shouldn't want to be working in unity with the violence interrupters that are under the attorney general. They should be working together. It makes no sense for them to not work together and not share data. So that part is just crazy. Number one, but it just shows. I just feel number one. Number two, the mayor has a lot of problems and a lot of issues that the mayor's office is responsible for. I don't understand why not allow the attorney general to take on that, which he has. The attorney general's office historically has proven to be good at that. And again, looking at my brother Pastor Kenny, his auditing program. Why is there so much money and the violence is still at an all-time high? Let's be honest, violence is going down. First of all, but and violence is going down across the nation at that. But why? Let's look at where the money is being spent and how effective per dollar. Is it more? Is the money? Is there more money being spent where it's less effective under the mayor's office, or if it's more, or is it more money being spent where it's less effective under the attorney general's office? And when you examine the two, I think I think everyone will see that there are these programs under the mayor's office that are less effective than the programs that are under the attorney general's office.
Yeah. So,
and I'll just go ahead and respond to Kenny. You definitely can check the data. You're welcome to come on to the show, and we can talk about this face to face. But the bottom line is, in this country, crime is going down. Whether you're a Democrat, whether you're Republican, whether you're a Libertarian, whether you're an independent, I don't care what you might feel like. I don't care how your neighborhood might feel. But in this country as a whole, crime is going down.
well,
In
Michael,
the city as a whole, crime is going down.
well,
And we
I
can
do
debate
care what
about
my
that
neighborhood
later.
thinks about this. So if my neighborhood is under impression that's wrong, then that's partly my job to get out there on the streets and let them know what the truth is. And so I think it's an important role of our ANC commissioners to be more engaging with our communities. And so I do care, and I'm going to care. And I look forward to the listening sessions, the meet and greets in the next coming months, because again, I'm an outsider. I get that. I understand that. And there are things that not only am I going to need to understand or want to understand better, I'm going to be looking for and encouraging and engaging our neighbors to be involved. I can't do this alone, nor should anybody in this position do it alone. But we have to be engaging and ask individuals for help, ask them to get involved. And it's those people that do get involved because they've been asked and they've been engaged and confronted about it that will make some of our greatest elected officials. I have no plans, no intentions to run a second term. My goal is to continue to put the pressure on our current ANC commissioners for change, for them to follow the law, and help promote and find additional people that can get involved so that they can duke it out in 2 years for the next election.
So you won't run for council member after ANC commissioner?
No, definitely not going to. And as much as I said I wasn't going to run for ANC commissioner, I also said that I wasn't going to allow, I wasn't going to allow certain commissioners to have that sort of influence on me that I wouldn't run against them, because we can have a better commission. And mark my words, I am confident that we will have a much better commission. And hopefully that will continue, past the 2 years. But let's get through the next couple of months. I'm going to try to meet as many of my neighbors as possible. I want to hear them. I want to learn who the small businesses are. I've been a small business owner for years in DC, and I have not been like the engagement with us other than that simple email that you might catch or you might not catch because of all the other emails that you get. Like I spend hundreds of dollars for a basic business license. For what? I have never been offered or engaged in any sort of anything. And that must be frustrating for the others who have a home office or home business. And so I want to learn how I can better help them. And I just had a nice conversation with a sort of a not preschool, but I can't think of it. But on the corner over there by Boone Elementary, she has been running her a daycare slash that type of thing for years, and I was honored for her a good hour just to sit there and have a conversation and listen to what she had. The house is generational. Her parents, and so and hearing her concerns was important to me. So I look forward to those types of invitations, and I'm excited about the future. I really am. Like I said, I'm not going to know everything, and I'm probably more than likely going to have to get back to you, but I'll be doing that, and whatever we can do to remember, I live in the community too. I'm one of their neighbors. If it's affecting them, then it more than likely is affecting me too. And so I have a general consensus that we all want the same things. We all want a good neighborhood. We all want to feel safe in our neighborhood. We all want to have fun in our neighborhood. And so we live here. I live here too. And I think that first you're going to be you can come hang out.
Pastor Kenny is making me sick because he's posting links. I think that's what got me coughing is Pastor Kenny and posting this house link that's from the GOP's house as if that's something we're supposed to trust and look at. If you don't get that nonsense, I'll give you some data to look up after the show. I'll send you some data after the show. Anyway, go ahead, sir.
I think our commission is going to be a great commission. Look, and let me just put this on the record. I know that there are some people talking trash about me. Bring it on. Because once these people get to know who I am and actually see that I do care about people and the lies are being, whatever. Look, I don't say anything without supporting what I say. I don't make claims and not support them. But if anybody is out there making claims about me, just once, I'd like to see an example of what they're talking about. And it's really important to note that, because I think that with people who are easy to criticize me, who don't know me, never seen me, never spoken to me, and have only heard maybe things about what people have said, I challenge them. I challenge them to give me a call and let's meet. And I'm not worried about it, because over time people will get to, I'm not going to try. I'm just going to be myself, and people will see that I actually do care about those around us, and whatever they have heard is just rumors. And if you hear something about me, ask to see the proof. Ask for an example, because I've yet to see anything. And if they had it, they'd be bringing it out.
Well, we only got a few minutes left, but since you said that, there is one thing that we just have had an allegation, and I'll bring it up. There is an allegation that says Tom has a thing against our Black women, and that Tom belittles and attacks our Black women. What do you have to say about that?
I say prove it. I literally say prove it. I can say that there's no support in any of that. I say prove it. And you should too, Michael. You should say to them, okay, if you're going to make these claims, show me. Where? Give me one example of me being, anything against the Black community, against Black women, against Muslims. I'll say her name. Holly Muhammad decided that she was going to fight back because she kicked me out of an ANC meeting years ago for basically echoing what others had said because they wanted the meeting to progress. And she blocked me from attending 6 months worth of meetings. I appreciate her zest and her fire, but she's firing it towards the wrong people. I would have much preferred taking both of our energies and putting it into something good. But since for 2 years, she has made claims that are simply just not true. And anybody that knows me, that actually knows me, will already know that that's not true. And so I personally put a challenge out there to anyone to, show me, tell me, say that to Brandon Gant's mother, who I was, who I haven't talked about. Nobody knows that I've done, these things within our community. They don't need to know. But Brandon Gant's mother knows how much I love her and her family and how much they mean to me since his death. Christopher Brown's family, I could go down the list, and there would be families that would be completely supportive of me and the work that I have done. I'm not out there talking publicly about it because it doesn't need to happen. However, it is absolutely unsubstantiated. There has never been one example of anything that Holly has said. And I challenge anyone to find it. Now, Holly took this pursuit on against me. I'm not exactly sure why, actually.
Let's be sure that the people know exactly who this Holly is that you're talking about. Holly, who exactly are we talking about here?
So Holly Muhammad is my former ANC commissioner. She at the start of 2 years ago, right before she had to declare, she moved out of my ANC, and she claimed that she moved in with. She claimed that she moved into a building or a house owned by our fellow ANC commissioner, Barbara Clark. So she began using Barbara Clark's address of a second property she owned in Ward 8, which is right down the street. And she ran as a commissioner using that address that she didn't live at. And I confidently can say that because I have provided the receipts. And I have had my, when she left, Commissioner Crawford took over our ANC. And also speaking of block parties, during a Father's Day block party, which I was broadcasting for her to try to, live, trying to bring, people in. Commissioner Crawford actually came up to me and goes, and it's recorded and it's out there. She goes, Tom, we all know that Holly doesn't live there. And she knew that I was broadcasting. I don't know why she came up to me right next to the camera and said it, but it was very impromptu and wasn't expected. And I was just like, okay. I mean,
is this the former council candidate Sharice Crawford you're talking about?
No, this is Tanya Crawford.
Tanya, sort of the current ANC commissioner now.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So she held a and look, all of these commissioners know that she doesn't live there. I mean, I had had a private process server attempt 7 different times at this address that Commissioner Clark lives at or owns. I even had them attempt during an ANC commission meeting, knocking on her door, and she was never there. There are signed affidavits from the process server who is a third party. I don't know who they are or anything like that. Who have talked to the neighbors and said that she isn't there. The Board of Elections had sent 2 letters to our chair, Jamila White, instructing them that they should host a special meeting to discuss Holly's residency. And that commission, every single one of them, decided to ignore and not address it. Every time I would bring it up in the meeting, in the chat, they would go behind me and delete it. And these are not my instructions. These are letters from the Board of Elections telling them to host a special meeting, to convene a special meeting to discuss the allegations that Holly doesn't live where she lives. And so because they have continued to simply ignore and refuse to even discuss them, this is why I feel like our ANC commissioner are corrupt. And we need new people. We need to move along. Thank you for what you've done. It's time to find new people and, and actually follow the law. It's frustrating that Holly.
I do have to intervene and say, I can't speak for Holly Muhammad and a lot of the other commissioners, but I do consider Jamila White a friend. I do consider her a great queen, a Black queen. I think she has done a tremendous work in our city for our people, and continues to do a great work in our city and for our people. And she's very brilliant, by the way, but very intelligent, brilliant young lady. Beautiful young lady, should I add. But I wanted to point out a couple of things as far as the address. Did not the OANC allow this to go forward? Did they not rule in favor of Holly?
So no. So the office of the ANC has no power. They do not have any legislative, no power at all. The only power that the office of the ANC has is in relation to releasing funds. So if the ANCs don't provide their quarterly financial reports for 3 quarters, or less actually, they can actually take the checkbook away from the ANC. That's the only thing that they can do in regards to financial. That's the problem with when I said earlier, when I was talking about there are some challenges with the ANCs. The people, the appropriate place to determine who and what happens to ANC commissioners, according to like the Board of Elections, is the people. And so they sort of are their own entity. There's really not, unless they commit crimes in which, break the law, and then the law enforcement agencies, can get involved. But and you can look at it, Michael. I you know me, I don't say anything without putting it out there, and they have blatantly refused to host this special meeting, and they have done everything they can to get me silenced, These are such, great people that they, want to continue a narrative that says Tom's crazy, Tom's this, Tom's that, da, 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 da. But then
So
nobody
you're
wants to.
saying that all you ask is for a special meeting about Holly, or is it about the fund?
It's a law. There was a sufficient amount of evidence that was presented to the Board of Elections that requires the chair to call a special meeting to discuss the matter of a residency. There's 2 different letters that were sent to our entire commission. Now, keep in mind, Commissioner Crawford has already said that they all know that she doesn't live there. That's not my words. That came out of her mouth. We know that the Board of Elections has sent 2 letters to them telling them to host this special meeting and to take steps to fairly have a discussion about it. Let's talk about the evidence. I would want Holly to have every ounce of fairness, just as much as I should.
Go to the Attorney General's office at this point.
Michael, yes, I think that there are issues that that I don't know. I can't speak to it. You'd have to ask them about it. I do think that it's concerning because we also have to have confidence in our electoral process. And Holly, and again, I don't say something that I haven't been able to make proof of. Doesn't live where she says, and literally ran against somebody who did live in that single member district, and he lost against her. And that's not fair to him, especially if we all know that she doesn't live there. And so does our other commissioners know that she doesn't live there, yet they didn't do anything about it. So I'm not as crazy as people say that they think I am. But what I do say is that anything that I do make a claim to, I show the evidence. Has anybody seen anything from Holly about these claims that she makes that I'm racist, that I hate Black women, and that I hate Muslims? I mean, that's a lot of people to be hating on. Please, Holly. I mean, and I have asked time and time and time again, give me one example of any of those. And it hasn't happened. And so this blatant vendetta, is, I'm not backing down from it. Like, it's
what's the solution, though, is my thing. What's the end game? Like,
yeah, that's a great question.
We all know what's going on with our council member in Ward 8. It's already a division going on. It was division going on before that happened. And it's like, at what point, as a Black man, it kind of is more personal to me, because majority of Ward 8 is still Black.
Michael,
it's also more personal.
That doesn't have anything to do with this situation, because we're talking about.
Well, let me finish talking. Okay, and it's also personal in Ward 8 for me, because that's also Marion Berry's former ward. But it's personal because we're losing as Black people. We're losing a lot of DC. Okay, it's just the bottom line. We're just gonna be real about it. Okay, Ward 8 is kind of like that last ward that we have. That's ours. I'm just gonna put it out there and say what's real. And what I want to see for the betterment and the advancement of the people in Ward 8 is unity. I gotta keep going back to that. And so I'm saying, what's the end game? If government never steps in and rights this wrong against that Holly Muhammad committee, if they're saying, hey, look, we're not getting involved, even if it's wrong, it's strictly up to the people, let the people decide. tell the people what's going on. If they still vote her in, they still vote her in. It's kind of a Trump-like thing. You know, if that's what happens, where do we get to a point of unity? And that's what I'm trying to figure out. How will you bring the commission together? How will you help work to bring Ward 8 together? How will you bring that community together?
Great questions. First of all, I would say before we even do that, this would all be settled. There would be unity, and I, in fact, would promise and commit to even working with Holly for the betterment of our community if somebody goes and actually asks her to stop doing what she's doing. Because which is she continues to claim that I am racist, that I hate black women.
He's still doing it today.
Yes. I mean, she has said it during our ANC meetings when I was muted and unable to say anything. This is not me. Like this is a woman who has completely attempted to destroy me, all because of what? I actually don't know. But I'm not the one causing the separation of people. What I'm saying is we need to follow the law. And unfortunately, Holly doesn't live where she says. That's, there's enough evidence to suggest that that's true. I believe it's true. I haven't done anything wrong, Michael. I don't know. There's nobody that, look, Michael, this has been going on for 2 years. Has anyone came and showed you anything or talked about anything of which any three of those claims are true? No. And you know darn well if Holly had something, it would be all over the place.
Well, I'm not saying that you've done anything wrong or anyone's come to me with anything.
What you said about unity.
What I'm saying
ask her to stop what she's doing.
Sometimes in order to acquire unity, it requires humility.
No,
even when you're right.
Look, I was not brought up. I was not brought up in a way in all. Like my mother would kill me if I was being racist of any kind, that I was hating on women or black women or Muslims. I was not raised that way, and I will not tolerate somebody flat out lying without, she's provided no examples, nothing, because there aren't any. I cannot stand the fact that somebody can do this to someone. Why would you even want to do something like this to someone? And so I will not back down from three claims that are very important. Do you know how hard it was to start collecting signatures for a recall campaign when on the actual petition, she claims that I'm a racist, that I hate black women, and that I hate Muslims? This was actually printed on the petition that I was supposed to walk around through my neighbors asking for their signatures to remove this woman who has ejected me and refused to allow me into 6 months worth of meetings. Now, brilliant move on her part because it worked. But what does that say about me, the person that is actually trying to do the right thing? And why don't you like I don't even know why she's doing it. And she won't give up on it. I have even given her an out. I have literally backed it up, and we've tried to have conversations, it just won't. And so I don't think that I should be asked to give up or not back down, or to not back down, because this is my reputation. This is happening to somebody that...
I'm not saying accept being called a racist. By all means, let people know who you are. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is we need a plan for Ward 8. Ward 8 is in shambles. Ward 8 is divided. How will we bring unity to Ward 8? I'm in Ward 7.
Well, guess what, Michael?
Let's be clear. I live in Ward 7, but I still am praying for, I'm still thinking about, I'm still stressing over my people, my brothers, my sisters that are in Ward 8. And at this point now, more than ever, we need to make sure that we don't just lose what we have in Ward 8.
Well, here's a good thing, in my opinion. Ms. Muhammad is not running for reelection. Ms. Clark is not running for reelection. Probably because of the address thing, but that's to be heard. We are looking forward to a new, fresh commission,
Okay.
as many of them as possible. I am looking forward to bringing new people into politics, into being able to know that they have a voice. Just alone, making sure that my neighbors, whether no matter what color they are or what ethnicity they are, like we all should have be able to be comfortable to have our voice be heard. And yes, I understand your concerns about the Black community and them staying put, and I understand that. But why can't somebody? I hope that Holly will be open-minded to putting an end to her claims. I look forward to that because it will move
So
on.
Harley says, you know what? I'm done. I'm finished talking about my time. I just want us to just work together so our community can become better. If she does that, are you saying that you're willing to say, I'm done trying to pursue any type of?
She needs to acknowledge that what she's saying isn't true, because it's not. I mean, and if it is, then show me.
Compromise.
Yeah, the compromise. I shouldn't have to compromise off of something that she has literally just made up.
Politics. This is politics. I'm a Democrat.
It's not politics. This is not about politics. This is not about politics. This is about the way that I'm perceived. I own a small business.
Yeah, but you're a commissioner. You're on a commission. You're being trusted to work with businesses and developers that are going to come in. You have to negotiate. You do have to compromise.
That's a much different scenario than somebody that is looking at you and spreading these false claims about being racist. That's huge.
Yeah, but
that's the biggest thing.
What I'm saying is that's personal. Suppose look at the food desert. I always talk to people when I say this about Ward 7. We have a food desert in Ward 7. Okay, someone comes to me that I have a history with, that I can't stand, that I don't like at all. But they say, hey, look, I'm a developer now, and I have a plan. I can get you guys a Harris Teeter right in Ward 7 in no time. Because I can't stand them, because I feel like they're corrupt, because I feel like they're a liar, because I feel like they cheat on their wife, all of the personal things they said about me. You think I'm going to stop my ward from getting another grocery store? No. We put personal things aside and we do what's best for our constituency.
Of course.
And so what I'm saying is that for you, if Holly is saying, hey, look, I'm willing to put whatever I was doing aside to work with you for the better of our community. No one's about to apologize. No one's about to suck up or anything like that. We're just going to say, look, just work together for this project. Are you willing to do that?
I'm willing to. I look. What I'm doing is I'm moving forward with new commissioners, with a new vision. Michael, look, I shouldn't have to be put in a position to even overlook the fact that, I just can't do it. I'm not gonna. I will move on. Now, I have told Holly that I would work with her in the future. But and I would if that. Look, Holly has been in our neighborhood for a long time. I just wish Holly would have put her efforts into working with me rather than against me a long time ago. And for whatever reason, she has chosen to work against me. I'm sorry. I don't know why that is. But Holly has never been able to prove or suggest or make an example or give an example to any of her claims, not one time. And so she knows it's not true, and she continues to make these claims. And so, but the good thing is, from my perspective, we have what appears to be some great new unopposed candidates for our ANC. It's gonna, and I'm looking forward to working with them. I'm looking forward to, not being the last commission to have our quarterly financial reports in, because these are things that we should be looking at. The community, the public should be keeping us all accountable. And I have asked multiple times from our commissions for submitted FOIA requests that they had not provided. They have never provided. In fact, I had to get an attorney involved in order to obtain some of that information. That should never have to be. I commit to absolutely being transparent. I have always been transparent, and I don't think that anybody, everybody knows that I have always been transparent. And I will continue to do that.
I definitely commit to a transparent government. You know that even when I ran, that's been one of my biggest things, is making sure that our government becomes more and more transparent. And I live that. Like me as a pastor, there's no one who can say that I hide certain things or that they don't know things about me, because I show it. I tell it. I make sure that I am transparent, and we have to be a transparent government. That's the only way that we can be an honest and an incorrupt government, is that we have to be transparent, and we must also hold our government and elected officials accountable. I'm 100% on board with that.
Now, you put me in the hot seat. Let me put you in the hot seat.
For sure.
What happens if some sort of entity that meets your satisfaction finds any one of our council members doing something that breaks the trust of the community, of the people that they serve? Do you believe that person should be in office? Do you believe that the rest of the council should take action? Obviously, depending on what the situation is. I'm sort of referring to Trayon, but I want to be fair in also saying if it raises the same level.
Here's the thing.
Accusations.
When it comes to Trayon, I've made no secret about it. I stand with my brother. And let's not be fooled. I have been one of his biggest critics. I have criticized Trayon tremendously a lot of times on politics. But when it comes to what is going on today, I don't care about video evidence. I don't care about pictures.
Why shouldn't you? Why wouldn't you be?
I'm about to finish. I'm about to finish. Because it's different between being a black man and a white man. Because as a black man, I remember a FBI, a CIA, and a government who always planted evidence on our black leaders. I remember a FBI, a CIA, and a government who has always entrapped our leaders, who has always set our leaders up. One of the best political movements that has ever happened in our country was the Black Panther Party, and the government stopped that movement. One of the best people in this country ever was Dr. Martin Luther King and the FBI. Listen in on that man and tried their best to discredit that man's character. So don't come asking me why I don't trust the FBI. I have a right and a reason not to trust the FBI. Am I saying that it's right for you to go and take bribes? No, I'm not. But am I saying that I believe that the FBI can entice and set somebody up for failure? I sure as hell do.
Okay, let's just assume that he was set up. Did he still not break the? I mean, and we're not talking about just like one time. We're talking about 4 different times over multiple weeks, of which maybe in between, you would think, somebody, you would have second thoughts about it.
Actually, did he do Jack Evans? Did he actually steal from the government? Did he actually steal from the people, or was it somebody who said, "Hey, look, I'm going to give you some of my personal money to make sure that a program that's already going, a program that's already saving lives, just continues"? I don't think Trayon took money from. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like this is like the most corrupt man in the world. I can't do that.
Corruption is corruption. You're just the one that told me that corrupt people shouldn't be in politics, basically.
I didn't. I said they should be held accountable.
Okay, well,
I mean, we have a lot of leaders who have fell short. Doesn't mean that they don't deserve to still be a leader. I'm a pastor. I'm one who believes in Moses, who delivered the people from Egypt after committing murder. I'm the one who believes in a king that's named David, who was one of the best kings that is in the Bible, who committed adultery. So I mean, I just don't. It's not in my character to look at someone and says, "Hey, look, they made a mistake and they did all of this greatness." It's the same. Okay.
I understand, but my point is that there was time in between to actually ponder and consider his behavior, his actions, and stuff like that.
I mean, you don't consider that man pausing and saying, "Hey, look, man, I really don't want you to feel like you have to give me something in order for something to get done." You don't think that was a pause and that man conscious probably talking to him at that point?
Well, I would have hoped so, but I would have thought that would have ceased the action that he ultimately took, was a closed white envelope full of cash that he stuffed into his accusing of putting into his pocket. 4 different accounters.
Allegedly.
I mean, allegedly. However, let's also be, clear about the fact that we've seen, photos, and we've seen, I mean, the evidence against him is difficult. I'm not saying that it's not, and he does have a right, and he should have a right, and he will have a right to be judged by his peers. However, the court of law and the court of politics are 2 completely different things. And my concern is what does it look like on Ward 8 if we vote for this man to be back into office?
And let me ask you this: what does it look like on Ward 8 if you don't vote for that man, and a Republican becomes Ward 8 council member? What does that look like?
And I mean, that should have been asked upon Mr. Councilmember White before he could have taken his name off the ballot and actually, considered that. Maybe that was something he could have been considering while he was sitting in that car 4 different times. I'm concerned about the negativity, the headlines, the negative headlines that have been brought onto.
I'm concerned about the treatment, the difference in treatment, because I can go through a lot of, and Pastor Kenny, I see your comments, but I'm also going to say this also. I also saw your post. Don't go through in the middle of our show, and because you disagree with something I say, and decide that you're going to make a Facebook post and tag me in it, say what you have to say face to face, be a man. We don't make posts about each other. We say what we have to say to each other. That's number 1. If you want to say something, come on the show or come in person and say it, Pastor Kenny, respectfully. I said what I said, and I spoke truth. If you have a problem with what I said, then bring me some evidence. Like I said, it's not GOP censored House evidence. That's the bottom line.
Oh, so can I interrupt for just 1 second? Since you're talking about evidence and insisting on having evidence, do you mind maybe keeping that same level of expectation for this woman that you highly speak so highly of? Because I think I should be given that same level of respect. What do you think?
What woman are you talking about?
I'm here. I don't know why my camera froze. Let me try one. What there's, I mean, we're talking about the person that has made all these false claims about myself. I don't know why it's doing that. Sorry.
I mean, what time? I mean, let's be real. I've told you before. Show me some evidence. I don't mind if I have evidence, and I've told you this privately. If I have evidence, I'll go hard. We all know how I feel about my city. We know how I feel about DC. And we know I do not want any corrupt leaders, any leaders that are not adhering to the law in leadership. That doesn't mean that we ought to batter them while they're down. That doesn't mean that we ought to kick them while they're down. We still support our brothers and our sisters and hold them accountable. But it doesn't mean that they can't get a second chance. But
let me tell you, I was collecting signatures to put my name on the ballot, and there's a woman on my street who is very old, and she's a lovely woman. I knocked on her door, and I noticed that there's some broken glass and stuff on her steps. So I had was talking to her about her signature, and she chose not to, and that was fine. I didn't know why. It didn't really matter to me. I respect that. But I said to her, I'm going to come back, and I'm going to bring a broomstick, and I'm going to clean this up because you shouldn't be walking through this, right? It was like an hour or two, a couple hours maybe. I came back and I cleaned it up, and as I was, a woman walked out who was her mother, and she immediately had this negative connotation about me, and I challenged her and asked her, and I really wanted her to engage with me because I think that's fair, and I said, please tell me what you think. Because I knew I didn't know her and she didn't know me, but she knew of me from what somebody had told her. And
Miss Yogi Powers, I'm sorry, I see the comment. Miss Yogi Powers, we're not ignoring you. Yes, Trayon White still is on the ballot. Go ahead.
And so this mother of this woman, off of what somebody else had told her, decided that she was going to sit there and tell, and she even went to the extent of the day before going out and getting and asking for the paperwork to run against me, which would have been fine. I would have been fine with that. But what this person has been told by somebody else, which again is not true, literally had an impact on me, and I said, I really in the back of my mind was saying, if I was that bad of a person, if I hated Black women or Muslim that bad, would I have offered or cared about the glass that I have just offered to pick up from so your mom wouldn't hurt herself or fall or anything? I'm like, at least give me a chance to get to know me. If you want to listen to these things that there's never ever been an example or anything to be able to point to, fine. But at least give me the respect of getting to know me and finding it out yourself, or whether it's true. And that's what I'm confident in. Over the next couple of weeks and months and years, people will get to know me because of who I am, not because I'm trying for anything particular. They will know, and I'm confident on that. And some people will have to deal with their lies, and it's unfortunate that she would just stop doing it. It would be a much better environment for all of us. Moving forward, I'm looking forward to the new commissioners. I'm looking forward to walking the streets and on a constant basis getting to know the people that I'll represent. I love spending time with like on Monday, watching their kids go back to school and mom's crying, that's family, and one thing I was surprised to see grandmas coming out. I didn't realize that grandmas got into, there were a lot of them, and that was awesome to see, from a guy who comes through, a family structure that, let's just say, it's nice to see families together and loving on each other and caring about each other. I love that about the Black community. I love it about the Black community. And, Miss Gant, Brandon's mom, has, said that I am part of her family, and so much to the point that when my father died and was buried in here in Arlington, they actually came out and was there. And they may have been the only Black people in the crowd. Not really. There was, but but I was proud to have her. I was thankful. I was proud. I mean, they are family, and I would do anything for them as much as I'm sure that they would do anything for me. So for the next time that somebody hears somebody calling me a racist, or that I hate Black women or Black or Muslims, my phone is available. I ask you to call me. And Michael, I have never shied down from controversy. I've never shied down from being available to somebody or talking to somebody. But for God's sakes, at least give me the opportunity to get to know me. I think that is, and draw your own conclusions rather than off of a personal vendetta that I don't even understand why it's there. So my phone is always available, 202-660-9950. And I'm willing to meet with anyone. So let's just tell her to stop. If everyone just tell her to stop, it's ridiculous. But I'm here, and then we're gonna have a good watch our ANC. I'm just saying.
Oh, I got you.
Oh wait, so what was the question? Did we miss the question?
Um,
Oh yeah, I think we did. Yes, his name is still on the ballot.
yeah, I thought I answered it.
You did.
Okay.
I might be seeing.
Let's respond to my dear friend Pastor Kenny. He's been on one. Pastor, I don't know what's going on today.
Let's talk about division here. Let's hear it. Let's hear some love and some praise and some for each other now.
Let me say something. Like the girls have this saying where they say guys go on their period too. So maybe this is his period day. I don't know.
This is the way you ask for your.
I don't know. Like all I said was, brother, don't go make a post behind my back. We men, you're clearly on the show commenting. You can ask to come on the show. All I'm saying is, say it. We can have this discussion in person. We can have the discussion on the show. How is that threatening you? I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Do I need to work as a mediator between these two pastors, or what? I mean, come on. I'll do it. I'll step in there.
I don't know what happened. I don't know how it got there by me saying what I said. I mean,
the only thing that I would say to you is, and I love you dearly, but because you are a person that people listen to, that people may even look up to, it's really important that you set an expectation that our constituencies, our neighbors, should expect more from those that represent us. And even though no matter how you may feel or how close you might be or whatever to anybody, the bottom line is that we need a political system that, as much as possible, is free from corruption, has people in it that is in it for the right reasons. And so, I caution anybody to sort of lead this charge of not being cognizant of what's actually happening, and as much, and being realistic to what's before us, and making sure that people know that there are certain behaviors that are not acceptable and that we should expect more from our elected officials. So I look forward to finding what the council finds. It'll be curious. It'll be.
I suppose you have that same energy towards Jack Evans.
I'll be honest with you. I honestly didn't follow it very much. So
You have to follow. You can look it up, and you can see
yeah,
that the
I will.
mayor
I mean,
is introducing him, and he's back on the scene, and he's getting he's involved now in our city. Like I can name others. Are you saying that somebody makes a mistake in our city? It means the end. We shouldn't trust them. That's it. Is that what you're saying?
I think that there could be other opportunities that. I mean, this wasn't one time. That's the thing. Like this was not a one time thing.
Is there any evidence that says this is not this that there's more than this?
4 different times he got into a car and accepted money.
This
4
is
different times.
all the same. It's all from the same.
These are the
amount.
facts. I mean, this is the facts.
It's 4 different times. This is all the same bribery, though. It's just that it was 4 installments of payments. It's not 4 different briberies.
4 different opportunities he could have said no. 4 different opportunities he could have thought about what he was doing, and he still did it. And I'm not trying to beat him up. I'm just being honest. Like I think we have to have an honest discussion with everyone about the facts of the case. And
I'm willing to have an honest discussion as long as we have an honest discussion that says that people of another race, that people that have a different color commit these same crimes,
of course,
and they
I mean,
get slapped on the goddamn wrist.
Okay, but let's
and they don't get the treatment of the FBI showing up, blitzing them on a Sunday afternoon outside of their apartment and in their Tesla. Like, this is not the same treatment. This can we also take that into account?
That should be.
Can
I mean,
we
that
also be real about that?
You know, I questioned why he was, you know, scooped up on a Sunday where he would probably have to spend the night in jail. Like what was the intent or the you know, what was the intent behind that? However, you know, he shouldn't have put himself in that position.
Well, Ms. Powers, this is my point, is that there have been other elected officials that have broken the law, but they get nowhere near the same treatment as Trayon White has.
Do you think that Trayon will have a fair trial moving forward or process moving forward?
Do you think any black man has had a fair trial in this justice system?
I can tell you of a situation right now, Michael. Here's the news for you. That last year there was what I believed, or what I knew of, was 8 armed robberies last year, right? And I was one of those 8. Put a gun to my face, told me to give them everything that I had. A particular person was arrested directly after one of those incidents. He was found in the very close proximity of the crime, had a BB gun on him, was arrested, thrown in jail, was faced one at that point. It was one charge, but in the arrest documents, it had listed 8 other incidents that he was accused or being considered as the suspect for these other crimes. I find out that he was let go. He was supposed to put on a GPS monitoring system, and he skipped out. He never did it. And eventually the charges were dropped against him. For charges to be then drawn upon somebody else, and to find out that this person is suspected of 16 armed robberies, all in the same several block radius. This man walked past my house multiple times, either before or after, robbing somebody of everything they had on them. My thing is that, you know, we have a problem with our police work. And I'm not saying that, you know, if we're having that many armed robberies in that small period of time, yeah, they're going to be probably overwhelmed. But why was the community never informed? Why was there not a community meeting brought up and said, this is what's happening in the neighborhood. You all should be aware of this so that when you go out and walk your dogs, no matter what time of the day, because he did it at morning, night, and afternoon, this is what's happening. And it didn't happen. It was a failure on multiple parts of our elected officials, of MPD. Like there should have been, I mean, we're talking 16 incidents. And because they may have charged initially somebody else, which who knows what the situation is at this point. Maybe they're working together. I don't know. But this is serious. And, the person that has been since arrested for it he's been in jail, and they have rescheduled 6 different federal check-ins. There's been no activity on what's happening. There was some talk about that they were in the midst of a plea deal. So what will happen is they'll take maybe 2 or 3 of the strongest cases where I know in my own case that the detectives failed in following up on leads to video surveillance that would have ultimately proven that he was staying in one of the nearby buildings, and would have stopped them from doing it continually. But because they ignored, they didn't do it, he continued to be out on the streets. It is concerning that this all was going under, and nobody felt it was important to tell or make an announcement, put flyers up, go down the street with a bullhorn, whatever you got to do to let people know that this was happening. And now we wait to see what will happen. Is they'll charge him with the strongest 3 or 4 cases, which means that when it comes to the victims' rights of each one of those people, that because their actual crime didn't get charged, they lose the benefits of being a victim, meaning they don't get the rights to know what's being kept up on, what's going on, what sort of plea deal may be offered, that they won't get a chance to speak before they're sentenced, things like that. Those are some additional concerns that I have as far as the rights of a victim of a crime, of a serious crime too. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered about this serial armed robber in the Fairlawn area, and one way or another, there needs to be some accountability to it. So there's a lot of things going on in our ANC, but there's also some great things, and there's going to be some better things, because we're going to have that big old block party. And I'm sorry, did you say let me make sure. Did you say you were testing? Word 7? Is that what you said? Oh, sorry. We just extended invitations to our neighbors, and
I mean, we already took y'all leaders from y'all, so now thank you guys for the grocery.
It's okay, because we're creating our new one. We're creating new ones, better ones. And in 2 years, let's revisit this conversation, and then see who really wants to call me all kinds.
In 2 years, I'll be glad to, because we will have been 2 years strong with our new council member, my man Wendell Felder, who I think is going to do great things in Ward 7. So I would be willing to put up the advancements of Ward 7.
I was talking about Ward 8. We were talking about the great people, my neighbors, my new friends, my neighbors of 11 years. Ward 8.
They call it the great.
I was going to go there, but then I do want to walk a certain line so that I'm not, I'm not called anything that I shouldn't be called or anything, because that could be looked as,
We gotta close. We gotta end this show. I'm gonna let Pastor Kenny go and get his mic off so he can get over his period. We gotta end this show. Pastor Kenny,
Michael, thanks for the opportunity.
No, brother.
thanks for the opportunity. I'm going to do a meet and greet on Tuesday. I encourage anyone to look at the website that I created. It's got some information about ANCs and where they came from, how they work, things like that. Also, some upcoming meet and greets. It's ANC www.anc8a01.com. If anybody, I encourage you to, sign up for the listserv so that we can, the biggest thing is people have constantly tell me they don't hear what's happening. They don't know what's involved. So the only way that I can be able to do that is if you scribble your name and your email address into that little box and allow me to keep you updated. Otherwise, I'll be out on election day all day, encouraging, trying to capture my neighbors' information and contact information so I can keep them up to date, because nobody's going to want to miss these parties, except for maybe you. So thank you. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the time, and, wish you well. When are you going to, oh, no, where'd he go? He disappeared. Oh, now it's my show. Just kidding. I guess we're ending. Michael, thanks again for everything. Take care.